summer series today. Worship and Arts, every year we choose a theme that will encourage congregation to sign up and talk. So we've done some fun things over the years. And this year, the theme is, how did you get here in a church/religion/spirituality sense? What was your life journey that landed you in this place at this time? Because they're all different. Yeah, they're all different. And so Kathy's going to start with his description of how he ended up here.
Hello, College Heights fellow seekers. So for any further talking, humor me with just taking like a deep breath and blowing it out, okay? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Like Bobby says, today we're talking about my spiritual journey from there to here. Like she said, this is part of the summer series that we're going to be doing, and I'm going to just starting the whole series, okay? So bear with me. I slept and dreamt that life is joy. I woke up and saw that life is service. I acted, and behold, service is joy. And that's when we're hanging out the whore. My spiritual beginnings and background is as follows. I was blessed to be born in a community in Cincinnati-town, Karachi, Pakistan. It was very, very boisterously religious. It's the best that I can describe. A whole plethora of religions around me, most of them Muslim. But I was born in a very conservative Catholic family. My mother was, like a boisterously conservative Catholic. Nice for that. And from her, I just got a lot of dogma of religion. Said the rosary every day, and the Mass every Sunday, very Catholic. For my father, he was very open and very spiritual. Lo and behold, I didn't know it, but I was living and being affected by his spirituality. And from him, I really learned and understood and accepted the feminine side of God. Believe it or not. Yeah. So basically, I was raised with a lot of religion around me, zero spirituality. And then, when I was a little boy, here's when my spirituality took a whole new beginning. And I was about between 10 and 17 years old. I was serving as an altar boy in the Catholic Church St. Lawrence's, and I came to touch and was mentored by Sister Bernadine. That was the beginnings of my spiritual journey. Through her, I was administering to the disadvantaged, the poor, hungry, the people who had a whole lot less than I had. what she enabled me and empowered to do was take me away from myself and respond to them. At the beginning of my spiritual path. She was an amazing lady. And I just followed her blindly. It just took away from my conservative Catholic upbringing. And from there, I also, while I was in college, from there I combined my spirituality group, kept on serving with Sister Bergie, and then I was in college. I also had the privilege and the pleasure and was blessed to meet these blind kids. Now these were also part of the very poor, unprivileged people in the community. And I'd be reading to them. I'd see them. My school life, and I was raised in a Catholic school, very parochial upbringing, just hated my school life. I didn't learn anything in school. I didn't even know what I was there for, but I was that. But then I came to the place where I was serving, like I said, it took away from me, and I was able to respond to them service. And then when I was in college, reading to these blind students, well, here I was, hated school life, didn't know what I was doing in school, parochial school, again, shoved Catholic religion, school, and education down my throat. And I was seeing these blind kids who can't even see, poor, disadvantaged, homeless, the whole bit. And then I'd read to them or help them read. And then I'm seeing them progress and totally joyfully graduate one class to another, something else is opening up for me. So there's my spirituality getting a jolt and opening up, and me connecting and doing and becoming spiritually into mostly through service. Then I was also serving at Palo Dining Hall, which is right here in Palo Alto, and that opened a whole other area for me. I was serving at Palo Dining Hall, so besides dinner, it's everything from housing, education, mentoring, I was doing the whole bit. And I did that from early 90s to the present, I'm still doing it. And then in the 1990s, my own spiritual hunger for connection with my deep rooted soul and purpose exploded. It was an absolute explosion. And wow, I didn't know what to do. I knew I had to learn and uncover some things about myself that were not available to me until then. So through the help of my soulmate at that time, Kimberly, she encouraged me to get spiritual counseling, which I did. And I came across Father Sean Lara, who some of you know. He's a renegade Catholic priest. He's still doing his shtick. And through him, he was my spiritual counselor, and he was my mentor. And that's when I joined the COJ spiritual community of Palo Alto. And that's where I met my current spiritual connecting Janice. I was in 207. I met her. And there was my spirituality and search was growing to a whole other level. But in 201, I'm kind of giving us a background of where my spiritual search was leading from there. Then about 206 to about 2019, I was very involved in doing hospice work. Very, very good time to be involved in hospice work. hospice work, I took my own spirituality and I searched to a whole another genre of level. Here I was serving these sentient beings. I was helping them die with dignity to go on to their new experiences that they were going on to. So that whole service was a whole another level. And that taught me a whole different things that I had not learned before. Then in 2006, about 2007, I had the privilege of having Tichang, who was my housemate at that time, his father, mostly his father, whose name was Pala, come in with me. Through him, I got an unsurmountable amount of spirituality that I cannot describe. He taught me unconditional love and compassion for all sentient beings, metta-loving things to all sentient beings, self-awareness. He taught me non-attachment. He taught me forgiveness. And he taught me impermanence through Tibetan Buddhism. He was an incredible soul. I looked at life with awe and total openness. And he had an amazing effect on whoever he met. He was open to any and everything. He was raised Buddhist. I take him to my Christian thing, I take him to Sudan, and he had an amazing relationship with Janice. And I learned a whole lot from him. And that just took my own spirituality to a whole other level. We cry together, we pray together, we sing together, we do puja together, we pray together, and he was an amazing, alive soul. He was a real soul. To him, I'm totally grateful. And then in 2019, 2020, I met Brother Napar of Yarns through my hospice work. And my relationship with him he was amazing. Again, his relationship with Janice was totally undescribable, very profound. He was very Zen Buddhist, former Catholic, born and raised in Buffalo, New York. And when he met Janice, I mean, his eyes would light up. Totally, because his mother and Janice's mother shot in the same neighborhood in Buffalo, New York. Go figure. No accents, no courses, no love. Yeah? So now, Bob Yarn takes my own spiritual growth and my happenings and my becoming to a whole nother different level. Incidentally, when Kimberly, my first soulmate, died, and the people at hospice tried to connect me with Bob Yarns, whose partner had just died. I didn't want to have anything to do with her. Well, they were trying to connect me to my own way. And lo and behold, 7 years later, Janice, my new soulmate, was in London. We were at Kaiser, and I was sitting in the journey where Janice was inside. Here comes this Bob Yarns walking towards me. What are you doing here? And he says, me, I'm looking for whatever. And we reconnected again. And Janice and me were there. We helped him transition on. So, Bob Yarns, thank you. He was my brother Buddha. He taught me mindfulness. We enjoyed eating sardines. I always loved sardines before. But he taught me how to eat sardine sandwiches. Go figure it out, yeah? And seriously, it tastes great. sardines fish finger themselves with sardine sandwiches. And the biggest thing he taught me was to eat mindfully. To this day, I'm slowly adjusting. Couldn't cover this. They sit down and eat. She's finished eating dessert. I'm still eating. I'm still eating. You need to slow it down. No, mindfully. Thank you. And then that also is happening on my spiritual growth and my journey. Right about now, we have it's coming a switch and a change. Right about COVID. Time of COVID, yeah. Time of COVID, the COJ community is not doing it for me anymore. It's not happening. Whatever I need to get a Kundakini and Sean, it's over. Besides, Sean is becoming very dominating, dictatorial, and it's my way, no other way, all the highway, done with you. So right now it's time for me to kill the Buddha. And I do kill the Buddha, Janice and myself leave that community, and be searching. No accidents or coincidences. This community falls out a lot. But before I say what I'm going to say next, I wish to describe and say what happened to me this past Tuesday. We were reading from the Daily Journal. The topic was joy for that particular day. Yeah. And Janice asked me, she said, "What are your spiritual beliefs?" She asked me that question. And right about now, I was trying to formulate what I was going to say here today. And this is my answer. I am here created by the all that is to serve and experience this experiment life, witnessing without judgment as best as I can. And so it is. Now, from 2023 to now, I am grateful for being invited to join this loving spiritual community of College Heights that is creating a welcoming spirit-filled space of empowering generosity so that all may safely find their voice and be inspired to serve and transform this world as best as we can. So, in serving and giving, then I am joyfully receiving. And this community encourages and invites me to do that. And for this, I am thankful. Namaskaram and blessings. Ready to talk about it? Any questions?
Transition from your previous, Catholicism and things that, there's rules you got to follow and so forth, and you go to confession and was emotionally the transition from that path. Did you feel like you were leaving something when you came to this less structured religion?
Thank you, Sandy. No, I didn't feel like it was losing or leaving or moving on from anything. I thought that was part of my push those are the wheels that are driving me to find further what I'm supposed to find. Did I answer the question?
I just want to thank you for putting something together that has a theme to it, because it made me think about my spiritual journey, and is there a theme to mine? And there is. I guess I'll talk to people and
Lots of Sundays over there.
find a space when I'm going to be in town, and maybe I'll share that. But service definitely went throughout yours, and questioning is my theme.
We're not done if anybody else has things to say. But I was struck in your story, Kaji, by the importance of individuals that have come into your life and had an impact on your journey. You absorbed something from them, and your path moved because of what you learned from them. I think we all have the capability to do that for each other when we share what we've figured out. I'm remembering, especially because you quoted the little Tagore thing that we all love. I slept and dreamed that life was joy. Another couple from COJ. It's a congregation that we have never actually formally met, but we just keep getting people moving in that direction. Anyway, companions on the journey were Butch and Lynn Chafsky. And I forget who told them that, you should check out College Heights. So one Sunday morning, unbeknownst to, anybody, Butch and Lynn come in, sit down right over there. And I stood up to talk about a new chant that, because we had loved that little Tagore thing, and somebody said we should find some music to sing it. Well, it turns out it's harder than you might imagine to sing to, because it's got 3 couplets, not 4, not 2, not 8, 3. Yeah, well anyway. But I had, some music had fallen in my lap over Christmas break, so I put this thing together, and I stood up to tell you about this new chant. And so I said, remember that little Tagore thing, and laid it out there. And Lynn was like, I've never heard that before. That's my life, she said. Which, if you had known Lynn Chafsky, was true. She was a one-woman outreach committee, ably assisted by Butch, who just went along and did whatever she told him to. But she was like on fire for all these causes. But she had never had it encapsulated so beautifully in this little 3-couplet thing of Tagore's. And I remember that every time we come across that call to how impactful both people and the right set of words at the right time.
Well, I just wish to carry on what Polly said. Yes, these people all came into my life at different times. And I just was open and just devoured and sucked up what they were doing for me. And all through the whole process, it allowed me to understand what Tagore said at the end. I acted, and behold, service is joy. Yeah. So, I'm grateful for all these people who came into my life, and I was open from that community team to here. We continue to do that. And
So,
So Kaji, I really want to thank you so much because, as you know, our lives have overlapped a couple of times, and I consider Bob Jones my best friend in my whole life. And we overlapped in some very significant ways, especially near the end of his life. And so it's amazing to have my friend come alive again, right? You know, that's what happens when we talk about someone and we say how they are. And what it made me think was that I think of the people who have been teachers to me, many, many, and we use the word teach, but from my experience, the word is actually model. And I felt that so much with Bob, who, by the way, was a member of the downtown church and went to Crystal Springs Zen Sangha here. So he actually had a life in this church and had a connection to this church. And I was just thinking that it wasn't what they told us to do. It wasn't how to be, wasn't instructions. It was modeling. And of course, I've never been a parent, but I really get that this does not cut it when whatever's happening over here is not those words. And that part of the profundity of this community is the match between the belief structure and the way we enjoy being together and treat each other. So you made all these things come together, Kaji. And I am so grateful for our friendship and the way in which you step out and serve. Namaste.
Hey, there you go.
All right.
Thank you, Kaji.
Yes, sir.
I don't have a similar experience to some of the things that you related about your own journeys. I grew up Catholic, but I don't consider myself a recovering Catholic or anti-clerical in any way. It's because I'm Mexican, I think. That's probably the reason. And, but I must say, Kaji, it was very good. Perhaps the high point was the sardine sandwiches.
Really, that's
Well, let's stand and see homage, particularly because of this. Yeah.